What's going on, everybody? You ready for the shenanigans at the shop where I've been volunteering my work, getting used to working on Mercedes and BMW and Lexus and Toyota and Jaguars, and just diagnosed a oil pressure light in a Porsche 2010 Porsche Cayenne S 4.8 liter. Dumped some Marvel Mystery Oil in it, ran it for about an hour and a half, kept going out about every 15-20 minutes and racking up the RPM. Oil pressure gauge quit fluttering, changed the oil, put some Euro 5W40 Castrol in it because that's what the shop likes to use. They find the best results with Castrol and Pennzoil Euro, and ran the vehicle. Oil pressure's good, everything's good, vehicle's running great, no clattering, no nothing going on. Awesome, right? Yeah, learning a lot about these cars and getting into them and diagnosing them, and just, it's been an unbelievable experience. I absolutely love it, don't get me wrong. It's refreshing to work on something other than a Ford. So I know what the independent guys say when you're kind of challenged every single day and it's not the same thing. But then eventually you start seeing all of the same cars, not just your Mercedes and your Lexus and even Fords and other things. Because your library starts to open up so much, you get to see those things. It's the same principle, except it's on a larger scale. And now you're even more marketable. So anyhow, I'm out. Asked me to pull in a customer's car. Some of you have probably already heard this story. I just got done shooting a video on the BMW that I diagnosed for them. And my buddy got us some. He got us Chinese for lunch. We're sitting down eating. Everybody's feeling good. He says, hey, you want to go outside and grab that customer's car and bring it in for us if you're done doing your video stuff? And I said, well, yeah, sure. So I go outside and pull in a car for him. And as I'm pulling in the car for him, I hear screaming, really loud screaming, like bloody murder screaming, right? As I'm pulling in the vehicle, one of the employees is standing by the door, and he starts lowering the door. And as the door is lowering behind me, pulling in, all of a sudden I see this guy running across the street. So I park the car, jump out of the car real quick, and go to walk back to the door, because I could see him just as the door was closing, get right up close to him, and looked like he was about to touch him. So I ran to the door, but the door closed before I could even do anything. Next thing I know, the employee's coming in the side door, and this dude's running in behind him. And he's screaming and grabbing his chest and grabbing his leg and, oh my God, this and that and everything else, right? So the dude is, we call the parts guy back, Al, to translate in Spanish. And he says, the guy's saying somebody's chasing him. Somebody's chasing him. Brian's back there. Al's back there translating. And his chest hurts and his leg hurts. And dude's foaming at the mouth. They tell him to sit down in the parts room. Sit down in the parts, or the little, parts, or the tool room, actually. Tool room. And dude's frantic and he can't stop moving. And he's shaking all over the place. And his hands are all over. And he's grabbing his chest. And he's like he's dying. And we get a hold of the paramedics and then, the police. They're on their way. I go to the back, and dude's walking out of the office. He ain't in the parts room or the tool room anymore. Dude's walking out of the damn office. And he's freaking the hell out all over again. Just keeps going through these episodes, like these waves of, and he grabs a part that's bad off, that's being changed off the top, and he starts swinging it in the air and almost hits Brian, one of the workers that I had. And I grabbed the dude and I yanked him out of the way, and I was like, no. And he still had the part in his hand, and he's shaking and he's freaking out, like he's waving it in front of him, like he's trying to hit somebody with this damn thing. And somebody's after him, they're gonna get him. And as soon as he heard the sirens from the fire truck and the ambulance showing up, the dude bolted out the side door, started to run down the street. One of the employees ran after him. We don't know why he ran after him. We think he was just kind of concerned for the guy's health. One of the employees ran after him, and chased him down to the end of the street. And dude ran behind somebody's apartment complex, and the gates were blocked off. Like, you can't use the gates because they got their like little yard art in the back of their apartment building and stuff. So when you go in, you got to come out the same way you went in. Well, then the police show up out front of that building, and there's this little tiny 5'5", 150-pound soaking wet police officer standing there, and they hear him back there. They know he's back there, but he don't want to go back there by himself, because the last they seen when he was running out of the yard, when he ran away from the shop, he busted a bottle, and he had a broken bottle in his hand as he's running down the street. So police officer calls for backup, and it's a female sergeant that shows up. Well, they're standing at the gate, and she says something on the radio, and we're standing there watching this whole thing play out right in front of us. And dude comes out from behind the house, and he sees the police, and he pulls his shirt over in front of his face, and he's like the whole John Cena "you can't see me" thing, and he's making these loud noises and stuff, and these police officers are probably 20-30 feet away from him. And then he looks down like, what's he gonna grab to protect himself? And he grabs a pipe, and then he starts walking towards the police officer. Then he starts running, and she puts her hand on her gun, and she says, "I ain't doing this today, I ain't doing this today." And then he takes her hand off of her gun, and dude drops the pipe and tries to run through the two police officers. So they have to push him over on top of the stairs, and they push him over on top of the stairs so they can apprehend him, or I guess they could search him first. So they start searching him, check him out. He ain't got no weapons or anything on him, but he's freaking out, bouncing around all over the stairs. And then he gets to then what they start checking his legs and stuff, and as soon as they take their hands off of his upper body, the dude tries to run from them and runs right smack dab into the tree, hits himself in the face, smashes his chest into the tree and stuff like that. Then they have to tackle him all over again, throw him on the floor, finally get him on the ground. They finally get him on the ground. Two more officers show up. The two by themselves could not get this dude in handcuffs, and he wasn't a very big guy. The other two officers had to come in and kneel down on him and stuff like that, and it took four of them to put this dude in handcuffs. And the police officer was talking to the other one, "Be careful, put your gloves on, because they were afraid this dude was messed up on fentanyl." Man, I haven't worked in Chicago. I don't think I've ever worked in Chicago, like actually worked in Chicago. And now that I'm volunteering to do all this diag and stuff on my downtime from workman's comp at the dealership at my buddy's shop to help them out, and he's offered me a general manager's position there that I'm pretty confident I'm gonna end up taking, because I don't think the dealership is gonna do anything with me. I don't think they're gonna find a spot for me at the dealership. They just don't have anything for me there in this same type of position, and dude's willing to pay me more money than what the dealership is paying me anyway. So I think it's a no-brainer. I'm pretty confident that's where I'm going when this is all said and done. But I'll make my decision towards the end. This is it makes you think, man. Do I really want to be working here? This is the type of people I'm going to be around all the time in this neighborhood, no matter what. Now your chances have went from here of dealing with crazy to way up here, because that's the atmosphere you're literally working in. This is normal around here. There's nothing abnormal about what you just went through. That is normal here. People look at that and go, and keep walking. That's nothing to them, but to you, you're like, "Oh my God, what's happening? Is this dude dying? Is somebody really chasing him? Am I gonna have to go get my piece to protect myself if somebody runs in this building trying to find him? Or is this guy really high? Or what if he grabs his part and rips somebody's face open, or hurts them, or hits them, or smashes the customer's car with it?" And then you're like, "What the heck?" So this is normal. This is supposed to be normal. Yeah. Just thought I'd share that with you guys. That happened yesterday. Scary stuff. Guy comes in high on fentanyl, just freaking the hell out. I'll be blessed.